Mr. Cronin graduated from the University of Notre Dame in 1987 with a bachelor's degree in business administration and a finance concentration. He is heavily involved with his local community and sits on numerous boards, including the Gettysburg School Board, AAU Wrestling, and he's also a member of the MSU-Northern Diesel Advisory Board. Mr. Cronin grew up on a family farm and ranch located just west of Gettysburg, South Dakota, where his grandfather homesteaded. His family continues to own and operate a family business today. He has extensive experience in manufacturing, customer service, distribution, marketing, and sales. Mr. Cronin is married to his high school sweetheart, Janet Cronin, and they have 3 children. Their youngest son, Carl, is currently attending MSU-Northern. He's also an MSU-Northern light wrestler. Mr. Cronin hobbies include hunting, fishing, water sports, snow skiing, camping, and traveling with his family. Please join me in welcoming Matt Cronin.
All right, I'm supposed to swallow this mic so you can hear me. Chancellor Kegel, thank you for the introduction. MSU-Northern faculty, staff, friends, family, and graduates. This is a packed house. You're all the way around the back. Fantastic. Thank you for the honor of being here. I am not a professional speaker. I'm not a celebrity, nor a politician, nor really famous in any way. I might not be very entertaining either, but my speech will be short, and I do hope you gain something from it, so pay attention, all right? So I'll start a little bit with my background. Chancellor did a good job of covering a little bit. I did grow up on a family farm and ranch west of Gettysburg. It's a town of about 1,000 people, so it's very similar to the country out here. My grandparents homesteaded it in 1908, and this year it's currently being passed to the 4th generation. Like any good farm family, the kids were free labor for my dad. I was a middle child in a family of 6, kind of run to the litter, and probably somewhat mediocre on how good I was on the farm. My 2 older brothers had committed to coming back, and so as I graduated high school, I was focused on careers other than farming. I earned the college degree in business, married Janet, and went off to college. Landed a job with Kraft Foods out of Chicago, south side of Chicago, about as far away as you could get from our little town in South Dakota. For 13 years, we moved all over the eastern United States and up the corporate ladder. Janet and I were building our life, we were growing our family, and we were happy. Life was going pretty darn good. As I was moving along through life, my brothers were working with Dad, growing the farm and the ranch. In 1988, which was 31 years ago, the local John Deere dealership was in trouble with the passing of the owner. So my father and a childhood friend of his, Rod Burwell, bought it in order to keep it open in town. That started C&B Operations. They were pretty original. C for Cronin, B for Burwell. So that's about as creative as we get. But it saved 13 jobs in town, and it kept a local business alive that was really, really important to those around it. In the mid-90s, 5 to 7 years later, they had some opportunities to purchase additional John Deere dealerships. And by 1998, had grown to 15 stores across South Dakota, Minnesota, Montana, and Idaho. Mom thought maybe it was Dad's midlife crisis. My brothers loved it because he didn't spend any time on the farm, and so they got to do what they wanted to do, so that next generation. But I will say Dad loved the business, and what he loved most was the people he met and the relationships he built across these new communities and these new states. He had just invested heavily in the expansion when everything took an abrupt turn, and that was January of '99, which was 20 years ago. Dad called me. I was in Chicago, back in Chicago at that time, and said he had cancer. He died 4 months later at age 60, which is pretty darn young in the grand scheme of things, right? My siblings had their hands full with the farm and other priorities, and they absolutely wanted nothing to do with the John Deere business. It was at a pretty critical point. It really wasn't doing that well. It wasn't running on autopilot. My mom and brothers were concerned it could bring down the family farm. And that's the emotional part of what they worried about. So even though I knew nothing about the John Deere business, Janet and I found ourselves moving our young family back to Gettysburg and diving in. So I went from selling Kool-Aid, 13-cent packets, to selling tractors. How hard could it be, right? Well, 20 years into it, I truly feel it was meant to be. It certainly wasn't in our life plans, but our kids have been formed by the rural, small-town environment they grew up in. We have continued to grow the business and move into more states, more communities, become connected to more families across this great part of the country. So why am I here talking to you? Well, hopefully, I can give you a little bit of advice as a person with some experience as an employee, as a manager, and as a business owner of a family business. It may help the next chapter of your life. Your future probably won't play out as exactly as you have it planned. So don't worry about what you cannot control. Focus on what you can control. You graduates in this room are well positioned for success. Why? Well, first, your generation Z. How's that sound? Huh? Woo! You're more advanced in technology than any other generation. You're smart. You have more access to information. You've been exposed to more at an earlier age. Some of it not good. You're better at multitasking. You communicate efficiently and effectively without ever even needing to use your voice. Use a little computer, right? Second is your background. Most of you grew up in this part of the country, right? Rural, middle of America, where there has continued to be a great reputation for a good upbringing, strong work ethic, and good values. You got to take advantage of that. Third is your accomplishments. Most notably today, your MSU-Northern degree, your skills learned, and your knowledge gained. This is really a good school, and it's developed a strong reputation with employers in Montana and across the United States. Take advantage of that. So my first piece of advice, reflect on how you got here and thank those that helped you get to this point. Who would that be? Well, first, your parents. Without them, you wouldn't be here, right? Literally. So, your family and your friends, your local community where you grew up, the people that's cared about you, and then your MSU-Northern teachers, coaches, administration, staff, and the Haver community. What a wonderful relationship you have here between the town and the school. So many of these people are here today. Make sure you don't miss the opportunity to say thank you. Matter of fact, I'll be dorky. So holler out thank you on 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Very nice. So now you can say, I said thanks already. All right. So my daughter told me not to do that. She said that was pretty dorky. So I don't always listen to my daughter. So, all right, my second piece of advice, do the right thing, always. Your moral compass is the most important element you can control in your life. Be honest and ethical with your customers, your coworkers, your suppliers, and in your personal life. Living your life this way builds trust. A quote by Kevin Plank has resonated with me. Trust is built in drops and lost in buckets. That rings so true, especially in the days of the internet where you're guilty by what they hear or what they see. In our company, if you're dishonest or unethical to anyone, you're gone. You represent our family name, and we want to make sure we're working with those whose values are aligned with our family and with our company. It's so important. Third, earn the respect of others. Work hard, have a sense of urgency in everything you do, and continue to educate yourself. Ask others how you can do better. We have 850 people in our company, and every year I remind them if their annual performance review doesn't include areas that they need to improve, then it is not an honest review. We all can be better. I urge them to challenge their manager to take time to discuss needed improvements. Many managers do worry that they risk losing people if they give constructive feedback because this generation doesn't know how to deal with criticism and we got low unemployment. So ask. Open that door. Sure, it can sting a little bit. They might even be wrong. Okay? But if you're truly trying to better yourself, it's necessary for your long-term growth and you'll be happy you did it. So do you want to know what I'm working on? I've been told that I ask my questions in the form of statements. So people don't know if I'm asking them or I'm telling them. So I'm working on that. And I can be somewhat impatient. Also at home, my wife thinks I sneeze too loud, I don't put the toilet seat down, and I need a hearing aid. I didn't even ask her for the input. Her list is actually longer than that. Fourth, get involved. At work, you are part of a team. Doesn't matter if you're going back to the farm or the ranch. Doesn't matter if you're in a community organization. It just doesn't matter. You're part of a team. Involve yourself. Help the team become stronger through your presence. When something isn't right, speak up and get involved to address it. Most employers don't wake up in the morning and try to annoy their employees, okay? We depend on you. We want you to succeed, just like we want our customers to succeed. In these rural communities, we all depend on each other for long-term viability. It is the only way there will be a rural America generations from now. You also have the responsibility to get involved in your community, your church, your government, city and county, industry councils, school, fire departments, EMTs, fair boards, youth clubs, community organizations. I can go on and on, right? The smaller the community, the more they need you. They need you to survive and to thrive. Moving back to our small town that we grew up in, but as an adult, has helped me appreciate how integrated every aspect of a small town truly is. The mayor runs a retail business. The fire chief works at the local elevator and was a youth wrestling coach. My wife, Janet, local arts council president, cheerleading coach, soccer coach, managed our youth wrestling club, and she became an EMT because we were going to lose our ambulance service in town, and we were 60 miles from a decent hospital. She has a photography degree, so thankfully I never needed her because her motto was, I'll get you to the hospital. It's not going to be pretty, but you'll still be alive. So she hasn't lost one yet. So I always ask for others. All right. I've been involved in a lot of things. You know, you kind of get sucked in if you allow yourself to. And an important point, if you're in, it's your responsibility to guilt others to get in. Okay? Because they will. If you use logic, being on the school board, I don't think it happens in Montana, but in South Dakota, when parents don't like something going on at the school, they will come to a board member Well, they don't come to Matt anymore because I'm like, get on. There isn't anybody here that wants to be here, so jump in, dive in and fix the problems. So you can, and it can become infectious. So it's your responsibility. Don't wait for the old people to do it. It's your generation's responsibility to dive in. Fifth, choose to be happy. Have a thick skin. Focus on what you can control. Life does not always bounce the way you want, but it does have a way of working out well if you keep a positive attitude. Enjoy that ride. Don't focus only on the destination. Look at my situation. 20 years ago, I would have never thought I'd have been back in South Dakota and jumping into a family business. And I wasn't excited about it at the time. Now I wouldn't change it for anything. Being negative just isn't good for anybody. If the culture where you're working doesn't fit you, then take responsibility and change it. Sometimes good people just don't fit in with good companies. As you move through life, look for those opportunities with the best aligned culture. They may not pay the most, they might not have the best benefits, but they could be the best long-term fit and the most rewarding as you move through life. So, let's review. I gave you 5 pieces of advice. Say thank you, do the right thing, earn respect, get involved, and be happy. Not too tough, is it, huh? So to me, the effort you put into this next chapter of your life will help put you in a position to take advantage of what life throws at you. It's that simple. Congratulations, good luck, and make us proud.